Welcome again to another edition of Biro Sports Talk. I'm your host, as always, Biro. And let's not forget, Evo Retro. You got some gaming accessories you need, or you want some protectors for your games, Funko Pops, you name it, gaming merch. Evo Retro has got your fix. Uh, Personally, I have some gaming accessories, a Pro controller for the Switch, a race car driving accessories for racing games, and not to mention a nice hoodie that I love to wear. And as I said at the beginning of this video, I am your host, Biro. And let's not forget, you have questions, we got answers. Don't forget, you can email birosportstalk at gmail.com with any sports and questions. And finally, follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're also on Instagram, so follow there as well. So, here we are, championship weekend for the NFL. Let's talk about last week's picks. So last week's picks, AFC not so good. We were 0 for 2. NFC, we were 1. Nope, we were 2 for 2 actually. So we ended up being 2 for 4. So let's focus on what we did do. So we were able to... Sorry, I drawn a blank for some reason. We were able to pick the Rams and 49ers. Weren't able to pick the Bengals and Chiefs. Is the overtime fair for the NFL? And I have to say, yes, it is fair. Reason being, you have to win the coin toss, and your defense has to step up. If they don't step up, what's the point? Okay, just making sure things are working, of course, you know. So, oh boy. As I was saying, NFL, overtime rules, they're fair. I mean, you can't do what the college game does because that'd be too easy for the pros. And you can't really do anything like pick this spot and march down the field because, again, it's not necessarily hard. Do you want a shootout? It's more what the fans want. You got to have reason, though. You can't just say, oh, spot the ball here, make them score. No. You can't do things like that in the NFL. Do I think the Bills deserved a chance? Yes. As much as I do like the you score, you win, I do think both teams need a shot. That's the whole reason why they eliminated the kick a field goal. And I think we'll get to where we like it eventually. So, besides that, let's talk about the championship round. So, the teams I picked for the Super Bowl are both out, both losing this last round. I picked Packers playing the Bills. Like I said, gone. So who are we going with this week? So we got Rams, 49ers, and we got Bengals, Chiefs. And the consensus is history repeats itself. Now, what does that mean? Now, if you're a history buff of the game, and trust me, I am a stat and history guy of sports. In oh man, that's not the right year. Of course. It shows me the wrong year, and there it is. All right. So it'd be the year after the year they said it's for, which is fine. So the 1982 Super Bowl It'd be 16. You got San Francisco versus the Bengals. 1989 Super Bowl. You got San Francisco versus the Bengals. What do these have in common? Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. Was Jerry Rice in the first one? I can't remember. We're going to look real quick because, we might as well. No, I was right. Jerry Rice was not in the first one. But you do still have Joe Montana. And you have Dwight Clark, who's, Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure. But I've know the name is pretty much what I was getting at. I know the name of Dwight Clark. Yes, Dwight Clark is a Hall of Famer. Or not. No, he's not. Why do I keep saying he is when he's not? He's not a Hall of Famer. But I do know Dwight Clark. The Hall of Famers on the 49ers were Joe Montana, Fred Dean, and Ronnie Lott. On the Cincinnati side, it was just Anthony Muniz, the left tackle. Ken Anderson was the quarterback. Chris Collinsworth, you might have heard that name, was a wide receiver. And then in the 89 Super Bowl is where you have Jerry Rice. You, of course, have Joe Montana. And on the other side of the pond, you still have Chris Collinsworth. And you have Boomer Esiason. I don't know why. Esiason. I don't know why I mess up on the name. But Boomer. You know Boomer. Announcer. And when you look at Hall of Famers, again, Anthony Muniz was the only one on the Bengals team. Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Charlie Haley, and Ronnie Lott for the 49ers. So what does this have to do with this year's championship games? Well, everyone that I know, or should I say sports announcers, analysts that I look at to do this, we're looking at a potential 49ers-Bengals matchup. A lot of people are picking it, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, just because, that is what history has produced. The last two times the Bengals made it to the AFC Championship game, they played the 49ers. Just so happens the 49ers are here again. The narrative is there. Not saying it's rigged whatsoever, but both teams have a legitimate chance to make it. The Bengals have beat the Chiefs earlier in the year. The Rams haven't beat the 49ers in 6 straight tries. What happens now? So Biro's going to pick these games, and I'm a man of debt. I love the storyline of destiny. I love all this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we get a Rams-Chiefs Super Bowl. But let's go with my picks. My picks, I like the idea the 49ers just shut down the Rams once again. I'm not going to lie, I love the idea of the Bengals upsetting the Chiefs again, this time on the road, causing a third rematch, the trifecta of these two teams. 49ers, of course, winning both of the previous ones by a score for the championship. Now, Joe Burrow. Boy, Joe Burrow. He is a talented young guy. I'm not going to lie. Former people I used to talk to told them you should keep your eye out for Joe Burrow. And what I was told in response was, well, Ohio State also has Tate Martell, and the rest is history. Tate Martell is now quote unquote retired from football, and Joe Burrow's in the NFL making noise. So we'll leave it at that because, you just got to leave it like that. So let's talk about these two games. So, like I said, I'm picking 49ers over the Rams. I do think the defense is stout enough to prevent the Rams just scoring. We've seen lots of times the Rams give up plays and not be efficient on offense. And the 49ers seem to be the best at it. Thus, thrice in 1 year, I think the 49ers will get it done. On the other side, Chiefs, Bengals. I have to go with the hot pick. I like the Bengals. I just don't think Kansas City's defense is that great. I do think the Titans had a decent defense, obviously, as they sacked Burrow. But as long as they keep Burrow upright and Burrow makes these plays, I do see the Bengals winning again. So let's talk again about more things going on in the league. A lot of things have been happening in the NFL. For one, the Bears hired Ryan Poles as the GM. Love that. The Bears also hired let me double check, Eberflus, Colts defensive coordinator. Now, as a person who really wanted an exciting pick, my initial thoughts is this is a C hiring. We could have went out there and got some big names. But everyone's talking about who will he pick for his offensive coordinator, being a defensive guy, to groom Fields. Also, here we go. The Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett as a head coach. Offensive coordinator for the Packers. What's interesting about this is Aaron Rodgers wants to leave, and of course the one team that comes up over and over again are the Denver Broncos. And Hackett's been a great offensive coordinator, I'm not going to lie. It'll be intriguing to see how that works. Also, we got Roethlisberger retiring after 18 years. The final of that great quarterback draft class with Eli already retired, Philip Rivers retiring, and Roethlisberger finally retiring. As we march along, though, Dan Quinn says he's staying in Dallas. McCarthy told he will return as the Dallas head coach. Let's not forget that there are still some openings out there. I've heard some rumblings about the Jaguars going after Byron Leftwich. Brady unsure about his future. Gronk as well unsure about his future. And the craziness that's ahead with the free agent class. Sorry. I'm just double checking though real quick because that's what we do. That's what we do. Is see who. Okay, I only see 2 coaching hires right now, which are, of course, Nathaniel Hackett, Matt Eberflus, Sean Payton stepped away from the team. That is the one I had to point out also. He's stepping away, just got tired, I guess. And it'll be intriguing to see who steps up there. Everyone's rumored that he wants to be in Dallas. Mike McCarthy better win, pretty much. Vikings still in the mix. Dolphins, Giants. We got a lot of guys still looking for a head coach in this process. Speaking of the free agency, though, let's talk about some of the top talents of the free agency. Of course, there's Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Williams of the Chargers, Allen Robinson, Michael Gallup, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Not all these guys will make it to the free agency, but you will see some of them get franchise tagged or, actually get out. And this is just just wide receivers that are listed. If I look at the top 50 free agents, of course you got Devontae Adams, you got Terron Armstead from the Saints. He would be a good get. Tackle. Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, both receivers we just mentioned. Jesse Bates of the Bengals is a safety. He's 5th on the list of free agents. Orlando Brown Jr. is a tackle from the Chiefs. Again, there's a lot of guys. Tyrann Mathieu, Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr. as we mentioned. A lot of guys who can make a difference for any team. It's just a matter of finding the right mix. And other football news, just because, we talk a lot about football during this time of year. Jeff Fisher, Larry Fedora, the final 2 USFL head coaching jobs. Fisher going to Michigan for the Michigan Panthers. Fedora going to New Orleans for the New Orleans Breakers. Now, the other coaches in the league are Todd Haley at the Tampa Bay Bandits, Kevin Sumlin, Houston Gamblers, Mike Riley, New Jersey Generals, Skip Holtz, Birmingham Stallions, Kirby Wilson, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and Bart Andrus of the Philadelphia Stars. If you notice, I'm noticing not any West Coast teams at the moment, which is good. They kind of have it all East Coast, and they have it all in kind of a line, in an area all together, pretty close as, geography will allow. And, that will make games easier for the players, easier on the players. And this league begins the training camps on March 21st and will debut on April 16th with the Stallions against the Generals. They are trying to be a spring league, and it's been happening year after year after year. Ever since COVID, I know the XFL was doing great before COVID hit. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses at the right time. In other news around the league, in sports, I should say, not league, in sports. How's the NBA going? So, talking to the NBA is still going through everything that they normally do. Right now, the Heat are number 1 in the East, 31-17. Bulls 30-17 at 2. Cavs are 30-19. Nets are 29-19. Bucks 30-20. And 76ers at 28-19. Now, the biggest thing is the Nets just dropping last 3. They're 4 of 6 in the last 10. Same with the Bulls. They're 4 of 6 in the last 10. But the Nets are just dropping It'll be interesting to see how they end up playing. Look, here's some stats though. These are the stats I like looking at though. So a typical team that are, good, a good team in the league. You look at the Heat, you see great home record, average away record at 500. Look at the Nets. I look at the Nets below 500 at home. Amazing away record. 17-6 away is amazing. The 76ers are the same way. They're 11-10 at home, but 17-9 away. That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. But let's finish out the in contention teams here on the East. 7, you got the Hornets. 8, you got the Celtics. 9, Raptors. Wizards. 10. And right there on the outside looking in right now are the Knicks and Hawks. Pacers are a little too far back at the moment. Pistons a little far, way too far back. And, of course, the Magic out of it pretty much. Now, no one's officially eliminated, but, they're going to be staying at 9-40 right now. Now, the West, which is always crazy. You got your Suns in first. You got the Warriors second. Warriors 6-4 in their last 10. A team just falling though, free falling. 2-8 in their last 10 are the Jazz at 4. Grizzlies are 3 though. Mavericks 5 and Nuggets 6. So you're looking at those two wins. Yeah, not bad. Looking again, you're seeing about what you expect on this side. You don't see like the Nets or the 76ers where they play better away and whatnot. But speaking of, just because, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Clippers are in the 7 and 8 seeds, which are crazy because the Lakers are 9 and dropping. They're 5 and 5. Everyone around them is winning. But they do have a 4-game lead on the Trailblazers, who are 10th. Right outside of the 10th seed in the 11th, 12th, 13. You got the Pelicans, Spurs, and Kings all trying to get into that 10th spot. What's hurting the Trailblazers, though, is their away record. Right now, they're 6-15 away. Also hurting them is their conference record, man. 8-21. That's just devastating, to say the least. Thunder, Rockets, battling, still have a chance to come up, but they're going to have to start putting some runs together. I know the Thunder in particular, they're 1-9 in the last 10, lost 6 straight. It'll be interesting to see how they play. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Talk. College boys basketball. I mean, it's one of my favorite sports, of course. You got Auburn right now as the number 1 seed, which is crazy to think about. I don't think they started. They might have started ranked, but they weren't predicted to be number 1. Gonzaga's at 2. Arizona's 3. Baylor's 4. Kansas 5. I mean, all typical except Auburn. Your 6 through 10, you got Purdue at 6, Houston 7, UCLA 8. Well, UCLA 7 part 2. Duke at 9, and Michigan State at 10. Again, no one in particular out of place there. 10 through 15, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Texas Tech, Villanova, and USC. Again, no one out of place. No one's a big surprise there. Here's where you start seeing a little bit of surprises. You got Ohio State, Providence, Tennessee, LSU, and UConn. Personally, I would say Providence. A lot of people expected them to be good, but to be ranked now, Probably not. Tennessee and LSU, probably not expected. LSU's been dropping, but those two might be a little surprising. Then UConn, I mean, they're usually good, so it's not too surprising, but they're sitting there at 20. Now your final five: Xavier, Marquette, Iowa State, Illinois, and Davidson. Davidson, biggest surprise out of those. Marquette, maybe. And Xavier, a little bit, just because, but we all know they've earned it. But what do we think about the bracketology? I mean, Joe Lenardi does this for a living. It would be a great dream job. I mean, right now they have Toledo as the MAC representative. And I only say it that way because we all know, I say we all, I know OU is a good enough basketball team to make it to the tournament again without their star player, per se. We all know Preston was very good, but he's moved on. And Sears has been balling out for everyone. So what does that leave us in the MAC? I mean, losses to Kentucky, losses to LSU, and then of course Toledo with the devastating home loss, the only loss, mind you. And now we start a lot of road games. Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. They can play. We can play. The fact that we had an off shooting night against Toledo, that's why we had 69, is surprising. The fact that they got 87 is a little surprising. But alas, I digress. I think OU has the talent to make it. Other big news worth talking about, because sports is a funny thing to talk about. And I mean it, because the big news out of the other day for baseball. I know we don't talk much about baseball. We mention the standings during the summer normally. Besides the fact that the Guardians will not at all grow on me. We're looking at another small Hall of Fame class. We got David Ortiz coming in. However, you look at Barry Bonds, you look at Roger Clemens, you look at Sammy Sosa, and you look at Kurt Schilling. We're looking at four guys. If you take away, excuse me, if you take away the one fact that they played in an era of steroids, they would have been guaranteed Hall of Famers. But they are forever linked to the steroid scandals. Schilling, many reasons why he's linked to not making it in. But it's just it's annoying for me, and I'll explain why. You do all this great stuff. They didn't prove anything. They didn't do anything. And it's weird. Like, when I look at the Basketball Hall of Fame, for example, sometimes I feel like, okay, maybe that guy shouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame, but he was good. So it makes sense, and you still get in the Hall of Fame. In baseball, the problem becomes, okay, you're good, but we're not going to put you in the Hall of Fame at all. One of my favorite players of all time, Kenny Lofton, didn't qualify to move past the first ballot, and that in itself was hard for me because he deserved it. A lot of people said he deserved it. But he has to wait, like so many others, for after the fact to get in. So here's always the fun stuff. So next year, Carlos Beltran, John Lackey make the ballot. Now, Beltran, I can see John Lackey trying to find some stats because the name sounds familiar, but Lackey's maybe not necessarily the one I see making it. They do predict that Scott Rowland will be the guy next year. Because this is a predictions by ESPN, who they vote in. Yeah, it was Carlos. And then following Carlos is Adrian Beltre, Chase Utley, Joe Mauer, David Wright, Bartolo Colon, and Matt Holliday in 2024. You look at a lot of talented guys there for many different reasons. The prediction there is Adrian Beltre and Todd Helton. In 25, though, you get CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, Ian Kinsler, Dustin Pedroia, and Felix Hernandez. Again, very talented players. They're predicting Ichiro and Carlos Beltran. But you gotta vote for some of these guys to keep them on the ballot. You can't just vote for who you like and hope for the best. That's my problem with it. That's my issue with it all. So with that, thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I enjoy doing this every week. Next week, we'll probably talk Super Bowl. We'll probably talk what's going on in the world of sports as we always do. But I will see you then next time, 7 p.m. as always on Thursday. See you then.